Hello and welcome to Kramer's Corner with a special technical update on equities. I will go through the Max 7 equities, but I will start with Novo Nordisk because I know there are a lot of traders and investors out there that could be interested in it. But I have to say this webinar or this video is for educational purposes only. There's no recommendation or advice whatsoever intending doing this. This is just to show you how I use technical analysis to read the chart and look at what could actually happen in the coming days and weeks. So let's start with Novo Nordisk that has really been on a sell-off lately. And here we have the daily chart past couple of weeks after trying to get back above 550 failed, and then downtrend resumed, and it's being pushed lower now. And what we can see here on the weekly chart, well, it is testing the 430 level. If it takes out that, a close below could send it further down to a 365. So this shoulder head shoulder pattern is really unfolded, and then a lot more actually. We lost about 60% on Novo Nordisk since the peak. On the Novo that is trading in New York, or the ADR, we can also have a little bit to look at what's happening. It's actually closed just around the consolidation area, around 67, 68 here, but it is of course the main listed equities on the Copenhagen Stock Exchange, OMX Copenhagen, that will set the tone, but there is a risk much lower to possibly 60, but let's see about that. It is already quite oversold, but as we just go back to Novo Nordisk again, we can see RSI on daily. There's no divergence. That doesn't mean it can't bounce, but it means also that it could drop further. On the weekly chart, it's a little bit different actually. There is some divergence building up, I believe. Let's have a look. It's very close to, and if it bounces from a current level, then could maybe build a foundation. Moving on to the Magnificent Seven, they're not so magnificent anymore, other than they are being hammered hard, and they actually been hammered quite a bit lately. Here we have Google or Alphabet C share. Closed yesterday at 152.63, but here pre-market it is indicated to open around 140 and a half. So we are back to where we were in September last year. So in this support area here, maybe it could bounce from it. If it does close below, well, then as we can see here in the weekly, there's not really much stopping it just to push even lower. We are below the cloud. We are below the 100 weekly moving average. We are negative sentiment. There's no divergence, indicating we could possibly see it continue all the way down to the 200 weekly moving average around 136, maybe even dipping to the lows here at 131. Amazon also being hit hard again yesterday, and is continuing here pre-market 168 we are trading, so we are also in this consolidation area here. It could continue lower. It could actually continue all the way down to 150 level. The lows here back from when was that, August last year. So really a sell-off there that is really hitting the Amazon really hard, and we can see here on the weekly what's going on also. So here pre-market there is potential lower. If it takes out at the 167 level, well then there is potential down to 150. That's the next support. Stronger support, as we can see, also the 200 moving average coming up there, giving some support at the lows here from last year, August last year. So if we get down there, and we already trading here pre-market at 167, then I think it will bounce, and then we will see buyers coming and say, okay, that's enough. But it is not a recommendation at all. It can get even worse. I'm just giving you the levels that you should look out for. We can add more levels, and this is what we do. We can look back to see previous support and resistance levels when they were broken, and consolidation areas. Here we have the peak up here, and then it was broken. Then it is a significant or interesting level. Same here where it actually tested that and then took off. So around 145, 144 is not unlikely. I'm not saying it's going to happen, and this is not a recommendation. It could dip down to that area, but I think it will stop here around the 150 level. Apple also got smashed yesterday, about 10% lower, massive gap after failing to get back above 225.70. Got rejected there last week, and I tried a couple of times over the past week or so to get up there, but there were really strong resistance, as you can see here. And now it is actually indicated to open at 193. 193, 194. So we are down here in this area here. We are actually below this strong support. We are below the cloud. We are below 100 moving average. Negative sentiment on the R side, both daily and weekly, still there. So we could see it dipping to 192. And the 192, where does it come from? Let's zoom back or zoom out and see where it comes from. It comes from this little consolidation area here, where market, you see it broke above here, then it went up a little bit, tested from the other side, and now it was a support, and then it took off. So in this region here, there should be some strong support. It could still dip to the 186, 187. So in this region here, we could see some support for Apple if it gets down there, and it's very, very close to at least pre-market. Meta also got hit hard yesterday, opening below 549 and closed well below. And here pre-market, we are looking at 506, so just above the support here around 495, 500. So just around that. If it does close below that level, well, then we are looking at 453. Let's have a look at what we are doing on the weekly. Well, here 495 is likely to be tested because we only a few dollars from it as it is now. 505 currently trading here pre-market. If it closes below, well, then there's not much stopping until 450, 440 in this region here. Lower part of cloud and the 100 moving average will, the weekly one will add to the support here. RSI negative on both daily and weekly, and it will take a lot of bounce to really demolish and reverse this picture, this very bearish picture here. But again, remember, I think we are in a bit of a panic situation. Everyone wants to get out of the same door at the same time, and if there are no buyers around, it can become really brutal. I'm not saying to sell anything. There's no recommendation or advice. Just be really, really careful what you do. Microsoft still trading the past few weeks or months, or so a couple of months actually, in this falling channel here, and it seems like it could be falling out of it to the downside. Currently trading around 358.5, which means we are down here in this region here, possibly testing this falling trend line here, the lower one. That also means that we are down 358. We're down in this region here. This is what we call fast area. It moved really, really fast here back in 2003, back in October, November. So it can move really, really fast here, also possibly down to 340. Let's see if it can manage to close back above 366. 75, so let's say 367. Always add or subtract a little bit. If it can close back above here, well, then there's some strength in it, but I doubt it. Again, it's not an advice to buy or sell or anything. It's just to give you some levels. The 200 weekly moving average coming up here around 340, 341 in a couple of weeks' time, could be tested even before then. Nvidia closed just a few cents below 102 yesterday. Support area, not the strongest one. The stronger one is down here around 95, and that is almost where we are trading here pre-market, actually trading around 97. So we are down here in this region here, where you can argue, well, is it there or is it here? But it's around here, 96, 95, 97 in this region here. Then we also, of course, also have a bit of support from the dip here in this region around 90, and that's what you can also see on the weekly chart. We have the lower part of cloud. We have the 100 weekly moving average coming up, giving some support there. So I think we could see maybe a sell-off down to that level, and then a bounce again. It is not an advice to buy at this level. It can easily continue lower if the panic really takes place, or is really controlling market even more, basically. And then if it takes out that 90 level, well, then suddenly we are looking at 80 or 76 support levels. There's nothing that indicates we could see a reversal of the trend at the moment. Of course, there can be bouncing, there can be rebounds where buyers come in and say, okay, this is enough, I'll try to lift it, but be careful. If you are bottom fisher, it usually goes wrong. Negative sentiment on both daily and weekly, indicating lower levels. And finally, Tesla, that actually has been holding up quite nicely the past week or so after a bounce just off from the support here around 214 area. But here pre-market is indicated around 250, so still holding on quite nicely. A bit of a surprise actually. I think if we could still see it pushing lower towards 214, these lows here, and if they are being taken out, then we are looking at 188. But you can also here on the weekly, we can see how market is trading around the 55 and the 100 and the 200 moving averages. They're actually giving some support here on the weekly, but the downtrend is intact. But there's some strong interest down here, it seems, for whatever reason. To really establish a bullish trend, it needs to close above 291.85. But the downside pressure is still in play. But also, I mean, it lost what 60% or something like that, or 50% since the peak all-time high last year in December. And we have some strong support here around the 212 to 14. All right, this is all. This is just the big ones. Just very quickly here at the end, you can see that the Nasdaq 100 CFD/future spiked to the support here around 17,729. Maybe even touch that, so we can actually adjust it. Yeah, just almost within a few cents from 17,637. Bounced from it. If it takes that, well, then we are looking at 17,000. All right, it's going to be a heavy day today. It's going to be an interesting day today. I can say that the semiconductor index is down almost 5% and the technology index down 4%. So be careful out there. Thank you very much and have a nice weekend.